midlifers also experience changes in family dynamics. So midlife can be a very stressful time. Middle-aged adults need to really let go of their children, but we do see that parent-child relations improve dramatically when children emerge from adolescence. So middle-aged mothers tend to take on this role of kin keeper. This is the person who gathers family members together for celebrations, who keeps them in touch with each other. But middle-aged adults also have their parents to take care of. So they're not just taking care of their own children, but also their parents as well. And for this reason, they're sometimes referred to as the sandwich generation because they're caught between the competing demands of two generations. So their parents would be a slice of bread, and then their young adult children would be the other slice of bread. So about 25% of U.S. adult children provide unpaid care to an aging adult, and caregiving can be a very stressful task. One of the big positives of midlifers is that many experience grandparenthood. And in America today, the average age of becoming a grandparent is 50 for a woman and 52 for a man. A longer life expectancy means that adults spend as much as 1/3 or more of their lifespan in the grandparent role. This is a picture of my dad and Lenny when he was pretty young. My dad really loves being a papa. So here's another picture of both my parents with Lenny when he was just a baby. Grandparenthood can mean different things for different people. Most people experience grandparenthood as a major milestone, and they mention one of these 4 gratifications. So let's talk through these. Being a valued elder. This is this idea that grandparenthood means being perceived as a wise and helpful person, and this can be very meaningful to older adults. Maybe you have a grandparent who really loves to share advice with you. That would be an example that this is very meaningful to them, being a valued elder. Next is immortality through descendants. This would be this idea that you're leaving behind not just 1, but 2 generations after death. So people like my husband's grandparents, they love to pass down little trinkets to us. And so I think that this maps on to this meaning of grandparenthood. Re-involvement with personal past is this idea that you're able to pass family history and values to a new generation. My dad is so funny. So my children are the first grandchildren on my side of the family. So they're the first grandchildren for my parents. And I remember when we were young, my dad would sometimes have these popcorn parties and he would make these malts. I don't know if you guys have ever had that Carnation malt mix. It comes in like a red and white container, but he would make these malts and he'd put like fruit in the malts and it was always like so fun. It was this big popcorn party. And, eventually he stopped doing it. Like maybe once we were in like middle school, he didn't really do that anymore. But one time he was visiting us when we were in St. Louis, and he had gone to the grocery store. We were all at the grocery store, and all of a sudden we're in line checking out, and my dad's like, I got to go get something. And he comes back, and he's got ice cream, bananas, and this red and white Carnation malt mix that I have not seen for years. And so he puts it in the cart and says, I've got to make Lenny a malt. This is a really good example of how this re-involvement with personal past is very meaningful to my dad as a grandparent. The things that he would do to us when we were young children, I now see him do with my kids. And so I think that this is probably the biggest one for my dad. The last meaning of grandparenthood is opportunity for indulgence. And this is this idea that you can have fun with children without the major child rearing responsibilities. So my dad, whenever he's playing with my kids, if if one of them has a dirty diaper, it's okay, go find your mom, you know. So it's this idea that you don't have to do any of like the bad stuff. He doesn't do he doesn't do timeouts if someone's being naughty. He just comes and tells either me or my husband. So that's this idea of indulgence as a powerful meaning of grandparenthood. So I'd like you guys to just think a little bit about how your grandparents grandparent and do that activity. Think about the dimensions that you think were most important to them. Or you can also think about what type of grandparent you'll be and the style of grandparenting that you think you will take on and the dimensions that you think will be the most important for you.